Well, so for the people who are tuning in for the first time, welcome at Startup Tuesday. My name is Meryl. I'm from World Startup, one of the initiators of Startup Tuesday The Hague. Today we will have a session with Cor Van Drieberge, the boxing coach. And he will be interviewed by Daria from WeShare. And the session will be recorded. If you guys have any objections, then please turn off the camera. During the session, please keep your microphone muted, and Daria will give you guys a sign when it's time for questions. And yeah, let's enjoy the session.
Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to Startup Tuesday The Hague. My name is Daria. I'm Program and Communications Manager of WeShare. And Startup Tuesday is the event about entrepreneurship and startup world. So today our guest is Cor. Cor is the boxing coach from Rotterdam, and we will speak about physical and mental well-being and many other things. So first of all, welcome Cor, and tell us please a bit about you. What do you do?
Hi, thank you for having me first of all. That's one of the things. My name is Cor Van Drieberge, born and raised in Rotterdam. If I speak too fast, just mention it, then I'll speak a little bit slower. I'm always excited to do these things, to share stuff. And what I basically do is I love to annoy people with difficult questions. And as a boxing coach, I basically help them to release emotions, understand who they are, but also make the connection between body and mind. That's the easiest explanation to give. And I do some things on the side to work better with your brain, to release stress, and actually make you become more productive by understanding yourself better, because that's actually the goal, the main goal of a lot of people when they are working with me. That's in short. I love to speak. I love to do capoeira. It's one of my martial arts that I'm working on, actually teaching also in. But now, since we have this Corona crisis, I cannot teach my own students. I'm like an outlier in that sense because I'm super heavyweight and I'm doing like a lot of crazy stuff.
Okay, so it sounds very intriguing that it's a combination of boxing and coaching. How does it work? How did you come up with this idea to combine these things?
Well, when you train martial arts yourself, I don't know who of the viewers are also martial artists themselves. When I found out when I started, I was a really shy guy. Until even I would stutter to talking to you girls before and then getting red-faced, all these things. And I was 18 by then, Normally it would be a tough guy hey, I've got so many. But during that time, I really developed my martial arts skills, and I understood okay, how can I cope with my emotions better? During my time, my parents were divorcing, so somehow it helped me to cope better with these things that came up. It also saw that I could challenge my own limits. That's what I learned from martial arts, and the coaching part is actually the questioning part. Okay, I see something, I feel something. What can I do with it? How can I understand it? How can I go deeper? How can I solve parts? And combining that, actually, in short, that helped. Because what happens is when you start punching, you know what? Everybody that's now listening, hopefully you don't have neighbors or housemates. I love to do these crazy things. Just sit up straight, hands up, and start punching 10 times like crazy in front of your screen. Everybody that joins in now is going what is going on here. All right. And
feels good, huh?
Yeah, you already release endorphins. You release dopamine. All these things that give you a push to do more, to understand more. You start breathing differently. You start speaking differently. And when you're in that phase, you can also understand emotions. For example, if you're highly emotional about an event that happened, or you're stressed, by moving and then, okay, what do I feel now? Question yourself. You can already start coaching yourself basically by using boxing movements. And now we're just sitting.
Yeah.
So this is short a little bit what I do.
And you also say that boxing helps with physical and mental development and growth. How important is it to work on physical and mental development? Do we all need to work on it, or it's for somebody high ranked? Or
no, the thing is, we're all, if we have to break down ourselves, we are actually beasts. We're beasts. We need to reproduce. We need to eat. We need to drink, and we need to go. We have a bathroom, but normally you did it outside as animals. That's actually who we are, and we got a human brain, the prefrontal cortex, which made us understood, which made us structure our thoughts, the way we can do our thing, that we can make conscious decisions. And knowing that, we tend to forget that we also have a body, because we're thinking too much. I studied, for example, business administration in Rotterdam, and a lot of people, they were studying like this, day in, day out. They suddenly felt like, yeah, I have a pain in my neck. And if I asked them, how do you think that comes? Yeah, well, I didn't do sports. Duh. You need to release that energy. You're a beast still. You need to move. That's why dancing, martial arts, all these things are really good. That's why students go out, because they want to release the energy. And we were just talking about, before the session started, we talked about students. So we need to do that. We sit quite a lot, and the energy literally gets tense. You have a part in behind your lower back and your hip, psoriasis, and that actually contains all the stress. If you don't nurture it by, for example, squatting, movement, dancing, then you basically build even more stress, and then you get yourself crazy, because then the brain doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. I also checked your website, theboxandthecoach.nl. Yes, it's in Dutch, but I can understand it. And one of the kind of sentences I found is that with boxing, you learn to communicate efficiently. Like echt leren communiceren. What do you mean by that?
Well, the thing is, one thing I learned from wise teachers that I had during my years of training different martial arts, they always say how you are inside the training or inside the ring is how you are outside. And if you understand how you communicate, for example, when I started karate, it was full contact. I was like the big guy there, but I was always careful, like, okay, careful not to hit somebody, not to hurt somebody. And I noticed when I went outside, I was doing the same. And if you understand this part in the movement already while you're training, and you can take it outside, and you say like, okay, I'm improving, you will notice that you will improve outside also. And during my trainings, I actually teach people, especially when they work together, how they communicate. And it's like, they say like, sorry, I think in 3 languages now. I'm also learning Portuguese now at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, it's for capoeira,
I guess.
For capoeira, so that's I need to practice more. Now, non-verbal languages, because if you start moving, and people say like, hey, I'm giving an interview, nice, and you're like, people already are gone after 2 minutes,
Yeah.
And then they still moving, like, what's going on? And people are like, okay, this guy is crazy. That can also happen. Then you know that you do get over the top.
Yeah.
But sharing as who you are, because I love to share. I show that in my movements. I show that in everything. I share the last 4 weeks within this crazy times. I've been sharing like crazy.
Okay, well, let's move to the topic of the corona crisis we're living in right now. So first of all, what's your attitude to this? Is it a sad period for you? Is it a period of opportunities or optimism? Or, what's your attitude?
If I would have said money-wise, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is 95% of my assignments are either postponed or canceled. Because I was giving classes to children, I was teaching companies. I actually had some several layers of events that I were actually going to attend or be a part of, and they were basically postponed until further notice or even at the end of the year. Luckily, some of them I'd say like, yeah, let's reschedule because we really want to, but now you have to cover some time. And luckily, because of the last 1.5 years, been really busy with a lot of stuff and really grateful for that. I have some time to work on my thesis, on my research on how the body and brain combination works even better. I started writing again because I tend to talk a lot, but I also love to write down some stuff. And for me, it's not time to organize all these things, and I'm making full use of that. So it's both opportunity and disaster combined.
So yeah, you mentioned it already a bit that as an entrepreneur, how have you been affected? What are your challenges now, and how are you overcoming them?
For me, the challenge now is to stay on top of mind of people, and that's what I do now by sharing, by giving a lot of talks, by organizing stuff myself. Yeah, money-wise, of course, you need to pay attention that you still have that there's still some cash flow coming in. Luckily, I have a few customers that are actually say like, yeah, you can do your sessions online. So I'm like, yes, and I can still ask the same price, despite that because I don't have to travel to the other side of the country, for example. So there are people coming up with solutions also for you. Also, one of my clients, they say like, yeah, maybe we are going to see if we can do a payment up front. Yeah, and it's because building relationships. That's actually now the key word. If you want to get to the next step, because a lot of things are shut down at the moment. But the one thing that we have is building trust, building relations, sharing knowledge, getting things together. But for me, it's actually organizing it now. That's the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. What recommendation would you give to other entrepreneurs like you or startup and scale-up founders? So now it's a pretty tough time for many companies who are trying to stay afloat. What would you recommend?
If you're a solo entrepreneur, find also a way where you can spend some time doing something else than focusing on what you don't have. For example, I've noticed that there's a lot of work to do in social interactive talks. For example, my neighbors who are not able to get out, I can do grocery for them. In the neighborhood, there are a lot of entrepreneurs affected. I can organize a talk just to get together, help other people. Just even if you don't earn money, it will come somehow. You have always something to share. I just shared with Middle. She has a lot of knowledge also on graphic design. Maybe somebody wants to redesign but doesn't have the money or doesn't dare to invest. Make something. Just share something and give that energy out, because you never know who will say next time, hey, I got the money. Oh, I know this. Oh, you helped me up back then. Yeah, that's something. That's the biggest recommendation that I can share. Share just what you know, because there's always somebody searching for that knowledge.
So what you're mainly saying is that you recommend working on your brand right now.
Yeah, working on your brand, but also not necessarily for the fact that you want to brand yourself. And I talk about sole entrepreneurs now. If you want to work on your brand, I would say work on your skills to promote your brand. Like, for example, Google has the digital marketplace, so that you can learn a basic understanding on your online marketing strategy. Like a lot of free options on deepening your knowledge about your own field. Talk with other people, which normally are your competitors, but somehow maybe you can get some inspiration to create something joint from a distance. There's so many ways if you use that creativity and write it all down and start building that.
Yeah, so it's great to have a lot of ideas and to share knowledge, but how to stick and to focus on your priorities, especially now when most of us are locked down in their houses with our family members or with our pets. We have to take care of everything. How to keep your focus on things?
Schedule. The thing is, what the brain really likes is already knowing to anticipate on what it will get. So if you plan your day ahead, you can already kill a lot of the stress. And of course, with some variations in it, because as you might know, it's not always that easy to balance everything out. Especially, I don't know if there are people here that already have children. I see Christina, she has Three of them.
Yes, three of
But
them.
she's actually managing quite well. What I so notice. But it's a combination of having a schedule so that everybody in the household can expect what's expected from them. Then obviously also a way to have some bandwidth that you can solve problems, because there always something jumping up some stuff, and in that sense you will need to adjust on that, and also give yourself some space if something doesn't work out. Don't beat yourself up, because that beating up yourself is even making it worse. And then that says like people will say like love yourself more. Yeah, and you can do that. Like, hey, I did 80% of the 120% what I normally do. Hey, you did 80%, man. Nice.
Just small questions. So you speak about planning. How do you plan your day? Do you plan it in the evening or in the morning when you wake up?
I plan it in the evening.
In the evening, yeah.
Because since I'm working on my writing, I have lots of ideas that I'm thinking of. Then you need to plan it the day in the evening. Why? Because you will take it to your bed, and you don't want to take it to your bed because you will wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, I forgot this, and it's not that you forgot it. Your brain will tell you that you forgot it, and that's how the brain works. It will always remind you of stuff that you haven't done or haven't closed down. So if you want to relieve stress, and you call it planning, give the brain expectations to live towards to. If you say that tomorrow I will work on this, and this. So somebody works like a perfect time schedule. For me, it works like semi-perfect, because I love to get off schedule, especially when talking and sharing stuff, or on the phone. Today I was on the phone. Actually, I was planning to write, but I got a few nice phone calls. I was like, yes, I love to challenge this one. And then suddenly you're 1 hour gone.
Yeah. And also one more question. We see that a lot of companies nowadays try to help. So they allocate funding to buy something for the medical personnel, or maybe they they give away their products or services for free. But what can all of us do, or what can entrepreneurs do to help now, to be helpful? You mentioned sharing knowledge, but maybe something else. Maybe you know some initiatives, or you have more ideas.
There's a huge list at the moment of initiatives that has been starting up. Start first talking with your neighbors. That would be the easiest thing to do. Like, hey, how are your neighbors doing? How are their children doing? Because I live also in a big apartment complex. And normally I don't see my neighbors, and now I don't see them at all. But when I see them, it's like, hey, how are you doing? Do you need something, or can we? Is there something that we can all do together for older folks? We have one of my neighbors actually. He works at home also with his child, and he in the elevator he hung a leaflet like, hey, whatever it is, send me a message, text me, just showing that people care, and people actually took use of it. Not that many, because a lot of them were staying at home. But just even if you have one neighbor that you say like, hey, how are you doing? That's the first start. The next start is also deciding what do you want to do, because you can help easily. I can also give even more talks, but that doesn't necessarily help somebody. And for me, it's also questioning, what do you really need now? I share something with you with the question that you asked, but I'm also wondering what people really want now. What are they searching for? What are their stresses about? What they're stressing about? And search for what other people's needs are, and maybe you find some skill that you learned suddenly from yourself. I found out that I can cook.
Yeah.
For example.
Okay, one more question is that so now we are living in this quarantine time, but sooner or later it will be over. It will be, right? How to prepare ourselves for so-called post-corona time?
understand that the economy as it is cannot go on the way we have been up till the crisis. That's one thing that we need to understand. So if you say everything is going to be normal, forget normal.
Could you please explain more? What do you mean by that? That the economy is not working?
Like that we are going to travel again, we are going to jump in planes, and we're going to see the other side of the world. A lot of office spaces, because a lot of people are getting used to working from home now, and they actually like it better than sometimes going to the office. That's also something that a lot of companies need to prepare for. There are a lot of skills that are needed, but are not they're not put into schools, or people are not educated on that. So if you want to prepare post-corona, try to find the 5 top skills that you actually should have. For example, if you don't like programming but you are good in designing, start learning some knowledge about programming, for example, so that you can offer immediately one big package. So that especially if you're a freelancer or sole entrepreneur, but also if you have a small team, that you can add more value towards the market. Like these type of skills, you should get it.
Okay, and then I have the last question. So we all want to leave this session with some takeaways. So could you give us today like 3 tips that we can learn today, and maybe share with our friends and family members how to be motivated, how to stay motivated, healthy, happy?
Well, the first thing that you're already doing, you're going to sit up straight, chin up, like, hey, let's tackle this. This is the first thing that your body needs. There's like a Giphy online somewhere about a basketballer that drops his head and then his teammate passes by, helps him to chin up. This is the first. This is actually one of the strongest Giphies I've ever seen, because it reminds me like that if you already do this, sit up straight, stretch your back, then your whole body is going to react on that.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yes.
Second, expect enough from yourself by planning, but don't kill yourself on if something doesn't work or work out, because you can always get surprised by different things. Expectations can be different. And move a lot. There are like a few simple ways. If you do only these 4 exercises, planking, like for 1 minute, 10 squats, 10 push-ups, and maybe 10 running around on your spot, and do that 5 times a day if you feel like you need it. That's already enough. It's not going to be that you will be gym class level, but to keep yourself sane and to keep your energy up.
And is there any average time of sport activity per day?
Well, they said if you follow the numbers, people say between 30 minutes to 1 hour you should do something. It depends on the person. The thing is, I don't want to force people into sports. I love sports myself. So when I was not able to go to the gym or to go to my capoeira class, I was like, so I had to adjust. But I found a way to get my 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day, and I choose it, and I really planned it, and I planned things around it. So that's you should do that for yourself. Some people need an hour, some people need only 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think that was it with the interview questions. Now let's move to the interactive part with your question, guys. So in the chat, we already received some questions. So could you please, guys, unmute yourself and ask them yourselves. But please also say your name, say your occupation, what you do, and then your question. Then I think the answers would be better. Aditya, can you start?
Yes. Thanks, Daria and Cor. I'm the venture selection lead at World Startup. I've known Cor for a while right now and heard a little bit about his workshops. They tend to be a little bit physical, so doing them online is fascinating. So I'm curious what that looks like.
I'm not sure if you were there, that we were punching towards our screen.
No, that one I missed.
Well, I combine a lot of. I try to combine a combination of knowledge and then I connect them to a movement. And for example, what we just did when we started talking in the beginning, I was asking like, "Hey, sit up straight and start punching." These type of things you can combine. You can work your way with it. It's not optimal because you miss the physical interaction. For example, if somebody is doing the punching on me with mittens, I can really sense other things because then you have this personal connection, and there's also going a lot of serotonins going up and down if you work with each other. But you can get quite close because if you help people imagining a visualization experience, then you almost have the same level as simulation. And that's what I noticed in combination with the brain training. I let people do different exercises. For example, one of the I teach at the Wageningen University now. A few sessions on brain training. I let them actually experience how it is to forget something or how it is to sit down face downward and try to remember stuff. Really, all these type of things that I let them experience themselves, and then let them give me feedback on that. Instead of me telling them what to do, I'm just asking, do it, and then they will come back to me. This type of combination in my trainings, I promote.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still make it really practical, and it really depends on your imagination. And sometimes you have to make mistakes. That's one thing I've learned. For example, if I want to motivate people, and they're like, "Yeah, we're sitting here just to sit," or they're taking it from mobile phones. No, you cannot punch around when you have your mobile phone, so it will become messy.
Yeah.
What did you say about having your head down? I'm curious. What does that do?
Well, for example, if you look down, a lot of your physical body, your shoulders will go in automatically, and you'll basically put yourself in a sad mood. And if you want to let people think about something clearly, they suddenly can deep focus. However, it's not optimal if you want to motivate people. If I say like I want to motivate you, I cannot be. It gives this congruence, which makes it hard to explain to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's why teachers in our kindergarten, when they wanted us to feel guilty, they wanted our heads down.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's something by nature. If you look at other primates, for example, if they're down or if they're put in their place, they will hunch over and they will hide themselves.
Mm-hmm. Heidi, do you have more questions?
No, not for now.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Sergey, there was also a question from you.
Yes. Hi, Cor. Hi, Daria. So, yeah, my name is Sergey, and I'm also working at World Startup as startup selection officer and program coordinator. So, those people who know me, I'm trying to stay positive whatever is happening in the world, trying to smile. So that's why my question will be to Cor about top 3 potential positive outcomes of the coronavirus from any perspective that's on top of your mind in regard, for example, behavioral change, investment opportunities for startups, SMEs, environment sustainability. So what do you think could be a top 3, not takeaways of the this pandemic, but the top 3 positive outcomes?
Wow. Yeah, I already expected such a difficult question from Sergey. No, the thing is, Sergey, in my opinion, first, if we understand how resilient we are as human beings, I think it will already open a lot of different doors. We're now, for example, we are put home. We are homebound, or locally bound, that you don't travel from one way to the other. I think one interesting thing that will come up is that there will be some hyper local economics that will pop up. People will start investing more in businesses nearby instead of traveling to the other side of the country or even the world to buy stuff. Another thing is that the way, as I mentioned before, the way we are having our economics set up now is unsustainable. So people are searching for sustainable ways to see, like, hey, what do we need to make things more sustainable? That's something that we will be more aware of. And finally, I think innovation is something. I talked about innovation in the beginning also with the ladies before we started this. And innovation is also, you're going to connect different things you already know in a different way. So innovative thinking will be even enhanced, and there will be more understanding, and it won't be a heavy word anymore. Everybody will learn about, next to their resilience, they will also learn about innovation, like what they're able to do, what they're able to contribute, or what they can put together. I see children, for example, in my neighborhood already doing like, hey, can I do something for you for the neighbor's grocery or whatever? And it's not their responsibility, but they feel the responsibility already. And then they're between the age of 10 to 12.
Yeah. So the outline is resilience, sustainability, and innovation, right? 3. Yeah. Okay.
Does it answer your question, or do you want a more macro level?
No, yeah, that answers questions partly because, well, it's not positive outcome; it's like a general outcome. But yeah, but that's fine. Yeah.
Let's see. I see things already happening in my neighborhood. I live in the south part of Rotterdam, and I see already children moving stuff. They're helping other people out. I see my neighbors literally paying attention, like, hey, I didn't know you were living in this building. No, already for 7 years, you know, like this one.
Yeah, that's good.
What do you expect more for an answer? Because I'm really curious about that.
Well, let's say,
if I can suggest, Sergey, maybe you should answer the question from your side.
Okay. So basically, I don't have an answer yet, so that's why I was curious to learn what others are thinking. But in general, I absolutely agree with the local communities trying to get stronger together. So like also in Italy, like basic example, that people are thinking together as one single community neighborhood. So it could be the same with communities, although we are divided by online with a distance. But hopefully, once the coronavirus is over, we'll be stronger as a community than ever before, with some more personal touch and trying to help each other to recover, because it's impossible to do it by alone. That's why I think that could be one of the positive moves. Another just trend is I think that startups will suffer the most, because investors are going to wait till the companies. Investors will not save a lot of startups at this point of time. They will probably wait until most of them collapse, so they can just buy them with some basic sense, rather than investing heavily in them. So that's a negative outcome, but those startups that survive is going to be general selection, natural selection, let's say, and then they can maybe establish better deals with startups, with the investors.
I like your thoughts about the startups, because I noticed the last years, because some of you already know me also as Cor, the coach who was helping at Venture Cafe once in a while to do startup coaching, and I noticed that during those sessions, there are a lot of, I would call them hollow ideas. Ideas that if you present it well, they're like the next gem, but they actually don't serve nobody. And those are the startups that are collapsing like crazy. And I'm not sure if that's a negative, thing or if it's a positive thing. I think every startup, because it was so easy to go to the Chamber of Commerce and say like, hey, I'm a startup, I have a business, and let's go for it. That's the new range of startups. They really need to have to think more clearly about what they want, what they are adding for value. Because that's for me, I guess that's the strongest case to put in.
Mm-hmm.
And that investment in that sense is a bonus.
Yeah. Does anybody else have a question? Christina, yes, you're welcome.
Yes, I do have a question. Hello. I'm happy to see that there are more people who says or look for positive things. I have a question for you, Cor. What do you see different in working with people now, especially with entrepreneurs, in their mindset? It's more, do you see entrepreneurs getting more creative, or it's just back up and okay, now is not time for me, or disappointment, or what do you see different in the mindset?
Depends on with whom I speak. There are a lot of entrepreneurs. Thank you, by the way, for the question, Christina. There are a lot of entrepreneurs that are like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's tackle it. There are other entrepreneurs that are like, yeah, I need to hold my hand up, and our government has to save me, etc. I don't call them entrepreneurs necessarily. Of course, it's nice to have some funding, but use that in a proper way. For me, what I was surprised about some entrepreneurs, that they close down themselves and they're like, yeah, but I cannot do anything, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my god, if you just only listen to the news, there are so many sectors which can use your help. Go out, go work. I don't care, for example, if everything was gotten away from me, literally, and I see that there's an opportunity to go to pick flowers or whatever, I would go. I really would go. I could not care. And the thing is, we're caring too much about what other people think if you either fail or not fail, and that's a part of the Dutch way of thinking. I mean, I really don't care if I have to flip burgers or whatever, as long as I can add value. If I have to survive in this way, I will survive.
That is one of the positive things that I see in the Dutch society. Dutch people get more human, I think would be the right word.
Finally.
Start caring more. Yes, finally, that is an amazing thing. And also, I see somehow entrepreneurs backing up, but also some of them just, okay, let's do something. Do you have a list of what we can do? Translate it in English, because when I watch the news in Dutch, it's just blank.
The thing is, literally, the flowers have a big problem because a lot of laborers are not doing their work. They're not able to sell those flowers. There's no way to create a market. If we are going just pass by, a lot of us, we can still drive cars. We can pass by, talk with them, share like, hey, how can I help you? Where do you want me to bring your flowers? There's in the Westland. There are so many companies. They have people shortage. They're willing to pay even more now just to let you do some work, even if it's hard work. There's so many opportunities, and the thing is, I don't have a list like ready, but these are the two on top of mind, where people actually don't want to do the work. Then it's as an entrepreneur, your opportunity to create something around it. And that's what that's why I see like a lot of people getting in crisis time, they get on top.
Do you see a last question, I promise. Do you see a need that is about to come? I read something and it really stuck with my mind that now is the time for first line, for people who literally save lives, but then is the time for people who encourage. And do you see that need, that there is a time when entrepreneurs has to step up and lead? Do you see that need?
It's not necessarily entrepreneurs that only have to lead. I think we should focus on the control that we have now in this moment. What can we control? What can we not control? Where can we work? Where can we work towards to? For example, I can keep on inspiring people, but if it doesn't move them, then I'm not inspirational. So I need to step up my game. So what can I do to make people move, or what can I do to help people do what they need to do? Either show by doing it myself, or do something different. And we need to question ourselves: are we also in the right track? As you might notice, we value the world in this economy in a really difficult way. For example, the cleaners, which are one of the most important people now. The garbage men who clean up everything. We don't value them. The nurses that are taking care of us, that actually leave their houses at the moment, we haven't valued them as such. We value bankers, we value the entrepreneurs that has this great story. But the question is, what is value then? And I think that is the question that if we have to bring it all philosophical together, what is the piece of value that you as a human being, as a person, as somebody can bring to the field, to somebody else? And it doesn't need to be that big, or even if you want to make it big, start with all these small added value things. Why, for example, I have a mouse here within my reach. Why is it valuable? It's such a spitty thing until you don't have it. Then you still need to have all these shortcuts in your fingers, in your mind.
Yeah.
Then you find out what the real value is.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christina, for your question. And I really like to wrap up with this last thought of yours, that think about what value we can all bring right now to the community. And this will actually help us to stay sane and safe, but also to be helpful for others, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, thank you all so much for joining today for Startup Tuesday. Thank you for your questions. Meryl, would you like to say something?
No, yeah, exactly the same. Thank you all for joining. Please join us next time. It will be in 2 weeks from now on the 21st of April. And I hope everybody got something valuable out of it. And yeah, have a good evening.
Yes, have a good evening, guys. Bye-bye.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you.
See you too. Bye.
Thank you all.